Wow. We always have jokes. You guys, I wish you guys would be able to see us behind the scenes.
Welcome to another episode of Chatbout Toronto.
Yes,
I'm your girl, Miss T.
And I am your girl, Melissa, aka Black Rose. You can call me Mel, whatever you feel like, you know what I mean?
Call you darling. So this week, we are talking about toxicity, girl. We are talking about how do you know if you're toxic?
Yes. Are you toxic?
Mm-hmm.
That is, I feel like that word, have you felt like that word toxic has been like loosely used?
Man. It's a buzzword right now. It's like everybody's like, oh, that's toxic. Oh, I'm just toxic. Everybody's toxic. But, you know, we got to break it down so you know exactly what toxic means. And then you can kind of decipher if you actually are toxic, you know?
So in a general sense of the word, something is toxic is like harmful to a person, open to exposure, right? There's varying levels of toxicity.
Right.
Some things are instantly lethal. This is just the regular terms of toxic, and others can harm over time. Regarding people, the definition doesn't really change much, right? So if you're a toxic person, is someone who causes harm to others through their words and their actions. They leave others worse off before they met or interacted with them. So you are, giving somebody your toxic energy. And yeah.
For me, I'm a definite energy feeler. So I could almost immediately tell when I get in the vicinity of somebody who has some spiky ass toxicity. I could almost immediately feel it. And like I repel that person. I rebuke them. Like I just right away I'm just like.
So how do you feel though? Like
closed.
It's like you get tight, right?
I get tight. I close off. I don't want to interact with them. I don't even want to be near them. I kind of just move out of their realm. Like I stay away. Like for those who, for lack of other words and terms, Caribbean people, we call that bad mind, or we call it bad ways, or you have a bad spirit. Or, you know what I mean? Like it's just negativity. You could just feel it spiking off the person. And sometimes it's not even always felt that way. Sometimes like there's some people who are just like overtly toxic and you can feel it coming. And then there's others who come.
It's like a snake, kind of.
Like a snake. They come to slither into your life and they are toxic without you even recognizing that they're toxic till they wrap around your neck. You can't fucking breathe. Girl.
Trust me, that. And I think sometimes too, when you're feeling that toxic person, it's like you always know that there's sometimes when you're ignoring your body and you're ignoring what your body's telling you, but your mind keeps on saying there's something about this person
that doesn't sit
with me. There's this one girl I grew up with and the energy she had from when we were younger, the toxic energy is still like exactly the same compared to. And every time, certain friends will always defend her and whatever. But I'm like, you can accept that. But I can sense when somebody is toxic. I can feel when somebody is toxic. I can feel when someone has bad mind against me. And
nobody wants that. Like, nobody wants that. No. Keep your bad mind and your friggin' negative spirit away from me. Move over there, okay? I just don't ever I just try my best to we've all had toxic friends, relationships, different people, even some family members are toxic. Even
some
girl. Some family members are just like auntie. Oh my God. Back up, but I try my best to stay away. And I try my best to not be that person as well. I definitely know I probably have some toxic traits because nobody's perfect. But I try my best to not be, especially as you grow and you kind of evolve, you get to know yourself as well as understand people and why they are the way they are. You kind of understand things, right? But I try my best to not be A toxic spirit.
So what is one thing about your personality that you feel is toxic? Or could be toxic, or that you have to actually like consciously pay attention to?
I think one of the things that I have to consciously work on is not being too critical. And not that I'm critical in a negative way, but critical in a perfectionist kind of way. Like, I like things to be a certain way.
I know about 15 minutes ago, you told me you are a little small perfectionist.
A little bit.
This girl.
Just a tad bit.
Used to cross the T's and I's. Everything gotta be in a nice symmetrical order.
I like things in order. But yeah, like that's one thing that I know that it can sometimes make people feel on edge around me, or feel judged by me because I want things a particular way.
Okay.
So, that kind of stuff. But I mean, it's a small little bit of talk. I don't poison it. It's just a little bit. It's not a lot. Your mask will be fine.
I think my toxic trait is my silence.
Oh.
So, my lack of communication, I guess, when I'm upset. So,
are you passive aggressive?
I think so. I think I am.
Do you voice, like, I can't say you're not 100% passive, because I think you would speak when you're
maybe it's 50-50.
highly irritated, but maybe you have to cross a threshold first.
The threshold and the threshold is high, so it just comes and it's like
when you get to a point you're like, rah!
Yeah, right. So you can be upset with me or something, or I'm upset with you, and just say we may get into a disagreement or an argument, or you may do something. You have already crossed the limit with me, and I haven't vocalized anything throughout that time.
All the way up.
And then I'll just cut you off.
Okay.
I won't answer your phone.
You're one of those cut off people.
I won't answer your phone. I won't send you a text message. And what's even more toxic about it is I'll never really address it with you if you never do address it with me. Okay. And if I see you on the street, I'm going to act like, I'm acting like there's nothing wrong.
What?
So that's what makes me toxic. Because it's like I'm playing mind games, I guess, with people, because I'm not really vocalizing
You're not saying what's wrong, but then you're just going to deal with them normal and real. But then when they call you after, you're not going to answer the phone. We already, I don't know if the universe does this on purpose to me. It's like they've already tried to call me, and then I just completely ignored them. Or like I'll call them back or whatever, or just, and then they probably have already lost interest too, right? Yeah.
And they may chat, I've heard chatting about me, Mel, but Mel, have you heard from Mel? Because Mel, I always hear that shit, right? And then I don't do that anymore. I'm consciously working on it now. I'm just going to say, because I realized how damaging that could possibly be, especially because you don't realize the positive impact or the positive thing or you were in that person's life.
Right.
And just because they did one thing, you didn't, and because I didn't like it. And I didn't tell you.
You're like me, you just talk once and that's it.
Sometimes I don't even talk at all.
Once.
I'm just checking. Sometimes you're doing nonsense. It's just checking in my mind. Just check. I guess that's toxic too.
Yes.
What? I'm just checking this bitch. Really? Especially when I make new.
I keep tabs, so I'm not gonna lie. I kind of keep tabs in my mind too. Like if it's not a major offense, I'll keep tabs. I will keep a little scorecard of the fuckery that you're about. Like I'm like, okay, she do this bullshit today. All right, I'm gonna watch and see what next shit she doing. And then I'll keep going. But like I get to a point though, I will say something, or depending on how that person deals with me, then I'm just like, you know what? You're gone.
But at least you have told that person. They kind of
usually communicate. I usually do. I can't say I do it every time, but I usually will say what they're doing that's upsetting me, or that they've done something to upset. Especially if it's a good friend, it's someone close to me or whatever, I would usually say it. But depending on what I'm getting back from them,
yeah,
I might just say fuck it.
I know. Sometimes I feel bad, like, because sometimes I'm like, I could have just talked to the person about it.
Yeah.
And
I have to say, I've had friendships, like I mentioned last time, right? Like I have friendships that have gone by the wayside and probably could have been saved with a conversation. But I just felt like, you know what? I sometimes feel like I'm always the mature one, and I'm always the sensible one,
right?
That has to like open the conversation or try to have some kind of dialogue to get us to where we should be. And sometimes it gets tiring, it gets exhausting. I'm like, why does everybody else get to just be that bitch and do whatever the fuck they feel?
Because
then I have to be the one to come and be like, well, we need to talk. We should get this. We should talk about this and tell me what you feel and let's get to the like. I'm tired of doing that sometimes. So I'm just like, you know what?
I think it's
fuck. I look like a Yanla.
I think it's you because people already know that you're going to be that person.
Yeah, they just act.
So like if somebody is toxic and they know how you stay or how you are, they're gonna be like, well, yeah, I know Tasha will message me anyway. I'll ask like Tasha, me and Tasha are cool. Tasha's gonna just call me
we'll talk about it.
And then we'll talk about it. Tasha always fixes everything. Nah. She's the fixer.
Nope.
But we did.
Olivia Pope out. Okay, I'm not fixing nothing. I'm tired. Hard. Okay. I just feel like if y'all value me as friends, then you should try and fix it too.
I agree.
You know what I mean? It's a two-way street. So
And I feel like I guess we can talk about it because it's you attracting toxic people. That is probably you being that way. So you are the fixer.
I'm a fixer. I'm definitely a fixer. I've been, that has been my role since I was young.
Shit.
I've always been that way for my family, for my parents, for my sibling, for my like everybody. I've just always been that person. So I get leaned on a lot to fix it. My mother would literally call me and be like, Tasha, so-and-so going on, you have to call them and fix this right now. Organize with them and fix it. Like that's my role.
Right.
My dad does it, my mom does it, like everybody does it.
So do you feel that even sometimes because that's something that you've done your whole life, that is the energy that you kind of like push out?
Yes.
And then that's why someone who's negative could just want to choke you or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean?
Stifle me.
Yeah. So
yeah, I feel like that has a lot to do with like how I interact and how I'm naturally a problem solver and a helper and a fixer. So I definitely attract people that tend to need fixing.
And do you sometimes like, was there a point where you liked to like fix people?
I still do. I do. I'm a giver that way. I like to help people. I definitely like to help. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm of service. I feel like that's what we're here to do. You know, like we're here, we're living this really fucked up life sometimes, and you just need some people to like help make it a little bit better. If I could help brighten someone's day, or if I could help give somebody some help or advice or whatever, that will, kind of, I'm there for that. So I like that.
As a fixer and someone who attracts the toxic people, what are some of the boundaries that you have to have when you're dealing with people who are like, when the information starts getting super, super toxic? Like, do you have any set boundaries?
I haven't in the past. In the past, I have been boundaryless. And that has been a problem. Right? Because that's when people start to take advantage, or you start to be affected by like what I like to call people like that sometimes are like life on fire. So they're always calling you with some problem that they need you to help them get out of, some scenario, some confrontation, something that they need you to like help. And so I've become a firefighter at a certain point in my life. But now I kind of like take a step back and I try to not get as involved. I think being there to help people, I think I know now how to help without being involved in the problem. Because like I'm an empath, so I kind of carry things with me and I get so wrapped up, especially if it's someone that I love, right? Like I get so wrapped up in whatever it is they're dealing with, that it now becomes my problem.
Got it.
Right? So now I've kind of learned how to stay from my position. Offer what I can offer, but keep the boundary up and not get too involved.
Not get overly involved with the problems.
I'm pulled in, sucked in.
Running to the house.
Yeah,
being like they're super rescue.
Come in right now, come in.
So if you are a fixer, then you are going to be someone who attracts toxic people. Mm-hmm. Another one is if you're a pleaser.
That's you.
Oh my God, wow.
That is you.
Well, don't listen to her.
She's a pleaser.
I am thug life till I die. Thug life till I die. All right, pleaser my ass.
Okay, pleaser. She's a pleaser. She's like, what do you want to eat for dinner? You're a pleaser as fuck, Mel. Don't and that's not a bad thing. I think there's value to pleasers. People kind of diminish their value. I think being a pleaser is a good thing. I think you just obviously have to have a boundary.
Yes.
Right? Everything within boundaries. But I think being someone who is willing to give of yourself to make others feel good or, I think that's a good thing.
Yes. It is a good thing, I think. I think for me, it's because I try not to create, because I don't know. I just always want everyone to be okay. Everyone's to be all right. So I kind of will suck in everything I'm dealing with, and I'll just try to ignore them. But now I'm learning how I'm stopping with the toxicity is actually communicating. Mm-hmm. I can't even say that word right now. Toxicity.
But the other thing too is being a pleaser. There's two sides to being a pleaser. So there's pleasers who are just want everyone else to be good, and then there's pleasers who are afraid of confrontation. They want everyone to like them because they somehow feel insecure or inferior. Mm-hmm. So they tend to do and kind of overextend themselves because they don't want anyone to be upset with them. I think that's a different kind of pleaser.
Okay.
I don't see you as that kind of pleaser. I think you're just the giving heart. I don't see you as the person who doesn't want anyone to dislike you, or you can't say no to people because you feel like they're going to be angry with you.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
You can say no.
She's like, no, what was it? You're right. And another personality trait that fits perfectly is what we were saying earlier, was if you're a perfectionist, because you always, it's kind of like you're a fixer in a way too, right? And you want things done a particular way, and you want to help that person go the right path. So you're and people will see that and they will gravitate to that personality, and sometimes they'll never evolve. They just know that you're going to do all the work, friendship, at work, whatever it is. Just how there's certain coworkers, they know if they're not going to do the work, you're going to
yes.
And you know what I'm trying to say? Yes. It's that whole toxic.
They know how to manipulate the situation.
Yeah. And if you're a perfectionist and you want, you want to do your job well, or you want to see that, you may like that person, you want to see them push forward, you're going to go, go help them.
So have you ever had a scenario with a friend who is overtly toxic? Everybody who comes into contact with this person sees them as how are you even friends with this bitch? Do you have you had scenarios like that?
My whole life. Apparently, some of my friends have issues because I just take stragglers. I'm not stragglers in that way. When I mean stragglers, I mean
people,
a lot. And sometimes I know, because I can already sense someone's being toxic or toxic traits about a person, I kind of do a pros and cons kind of situation. Can we know we're just going to go out with her, check.
Right.
Is she going to act this way, check. How are we going to know? We have to go out with her to see. Can we go on vacation with her, check. So it's not I'm whatever. So it ends up sometimes becoming conflict, because that new person who's toxic nobody likes them.
Right.
And then they get kind of jealous because maybe they're used to me because I brought them in and I want to oh my God, hey. And it's just, it's so, sometimes it's fucked up. I don't know. And I know it's because I get toxic people to gravitate to me, But some days I'm just like, really?
Just leave me alone.
Really? and then it's my fault too, because sometimes the girls that I did bring in, or people I not even brought in with myself, even just they say certain things and you knew they were really toxic. Like when a female tells me she doesn't have any female friends,
red flag.
That's a red flag.
Red flag. And I don't know why women takes like that, like it's some badge of honor for women to say like, oh, I don't get along with women. I don't like women. I get along better with men and da 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 da. Bitch, like if you cannot maintain female like your woman friendships, like come on, what's wrong with you? Like there's something wrong with you if you can't maintain friendships with women.
Just one,
right? At least one, you know. Yeah. But I've had friends who, like a friend who was viewed by almost everyone in my life as being a toxic friend, and I didn't see it.
So you did the same thing. You measured the pros and cons, and you kind of just ignored the cons.
I ignored the cons. I didn't see the cons for the cons that they were.
Oh shoot!
So everybody else saw them.
What did you see? Like you saw it as
I just saw her as like she was fun. She like we got along. We had a lot of things in common. I think what happens with me is that I understand why people are the way they are. And so a lot of times I will accept people, even though I know that they may have traits about them that are not the best. Right. I will accept them, right?
Okay.
But people around me are like, why the fuck who is this bitch? Like, why are you hanging with this girl, right?
I don't like her attitude. I don't like her.
I don't like her. And then the person too was just like, well, I don't really like this person. I don't like that person. And it's just me and you. Like, do we have to bring her? And like that kind of stuff. Like, and then one friend is just like, do we have to bring your other friends? And then you don't even realize that you kind of laugh it off, right? But then you're just like, wait a minute.
You guys don't...
Why are you laughing?
Because I've gone through that.
You've gone through that, right? Your toxic friend is just like, can it just be like us? Can we just, don't bring the rest of them, just us. Right? And then, all right, cool, right? And then when you go around the other people, they're just like,
right?
They feel a way, they look at her a way, they're acting a way, and you're just like, what's wrong with you? Like, just relax, But I have definitely had those kind of energies that you had to manage. Yeah. So that's when I got to the place where I'm like, you know what? I started to compartmentalize my friends.
Okay.
And not mix them and only have interactions with them alone and these people alone and those ones alone, because the mixing part was just not happening. Wasn't working.
But do you think the circle you have now, you would be able to bring them together, or are you still keeping them separate based on like past experience?
I don't really have a very big circle right now, to be very honest. I think I kind of still keep things separate.
Yeah.
But my circle has gotten tight like this.
So could you say that the older you get, I'm not saying that you're old, just
yeah, I was about to say that you're going
to be old. The circle of friends gets smaller. Is it because the ones that were surrounding you prior were toxic, and then the ones that you have right now are not?
I feel like that has definitely played a part. I think I've gotten to a place where I keep good people around. Mm-hmm. But I am a person that I really like having new friends. I enjoy meeting new people. I enjoy having like a new circle of people that could that I could engage and that could bring me to another level, who could teach me stuff, who could expose me to things that I'm not exposed to. I like that. So I've never really been a friend that only sticks to the same people I've known all my whole entire life. Okay. I still have very long friendships, but I actually really still enjoy
the mix
and bringing people in. So it won't be that all the time, but right now, and it's probably because of COVID too,
Yeah, true.
You just kind of
just chilling
to your own little bubble. And just like there's just a handful of people in the bubble. So
I barely even talk.
Talk on the phone.
If you are someone, and the last one I'm gonna say before we get into the types of toxic people, if you are somebody who is always comparing yourself to others and always worrying about what other people do, you will gravitate to a lot of toxic people in your life. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
You know, the other thing, like people who are very critical, like that was one of the things that I noticed about like some of my toxic friends. They were very critical. They had this like superiority kind of way about them. They felt like they were better than other people. And like because I know how they really are, and I know that deep down inside they don't really think that they're better than anybody else, I almost kind of like ignored that behavior, because I know that on the inside they're like in such turmoil because they actually don't feel like they measure up, right? But that's exactly what happens with like they project something different, right? So it was very like mean girlish,
got it,
kind of energy, right? But people who are typically like always in mix up, always talking about other people, always having conflict with other people, always having some kind of like tension or some kind of some kind of something that you're just like, how are you always in something with somebody? Oh God.
There's always that one person. It doesn't matter what the genre, the venue is, who it is.
Girl,
they go to a restaurant. There's a restaurant. They're screaming at the waiter. When they're at the bar, when they're at the club, they're mad because the bar is taking too long, or they're beefing with the security guard. Yeah. Or there's a guy they're cussing.
Yes.
Like it's always something. And like that person is just seeping all that toxic energy.
And it's what you put out is what you get.
Yeah.
So when you walk through your life giving off this kind of energy, it comes back at you.
So do you think that toxic people know that they're toxic?
I think some of them do, but for the most part, I think that they think that life is just shitting on them, or other people are just fucked up.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of people who are toxic tend to blame other people for why they're experiencing what they're experiencing.
Yes.
Instead of just being like, let me take stock of what I'm doing and what I'm saying and how what energy am I putting out, you know?
Right.
They don't ever do that. There's no self-reflection. It's always like this bitch and that motherfucker and this asshole and da, da, da. Like it's always like, and why me? Like why are people always fucking with me? Like why is it people always want to fuck with me? Like that kind of, and I'm like,
zero accountability.
None. Zero. And it's always someone else's fault, you know? And I think a lot of it happens when you're in a certain stage, like a young stage. But I think it kind of still carries for some people if they don't acknowledge it. They grow with that. So then they end up being older, still kind of doing that, still kind of blaming others, you know?
So do you think someone who has who is just toxic, biohazard, you know, you gotta run when you see them type of person, do you think that they have even the mask won't protect you? That mask. But anyway, do you think that they could change?
I think everyone can change.
Okay.
I really do. I think it's just about what you want to do, right? If you want to change, you can definitely change. If you want to, you know, reflect and kind of see where you're going wrong, nobody's above that kind of change or going through like the evolution. I think everyone's capable of that. What?
You know what? Fine. Yeah. I mean,
she said fine. Okay.
Some people, all right. Some people are capable of changing. Sometimes I find it with society, it's so hard for humans to change. So I should be giving people the benefit of the doubt, because that's very like rude of me. Maybe toxic because I'm judging.
No, but I mean, if you have past experiences, then you have every right to, you know, kind of hold back and judge a little bit, because if they're showing you that, you know. But I definitely think people can change. I think with time, I think sometimes your absence really makes people think. You know, I know that I've had friends that I'm no longer in their life, and I know that they feel my absence. Okay, I'm tooting my own horn here, but I know that I'm a good friend. I know that when I'm not in your life, you would definitely feel the difference. Especially if I played a major role in your life, I think you will definitely feel the difference.
Okay.
Right? And
girl?
Yeah, I do. I just feel like that.
girl.
No, but you know what?
That.
It's like just knowing your value as a person and as a friend. Like I didn't always feel this way. I always felt that I'm not sure always felt, but I have felt in the past that I'm disposable, right? Especially when people kind of like you have something with them or whatever the case is, and they just stop talking to you, or they're just like, it's like, you know, cut and gone or whatever, like how you do. So I've been on the receiving end.
Stick to my heart. Oh, Tasha, the stick. Let me slowly
pull it out. Ooh. I have definitely been on the receiving end.
It sucks, right?
That, and it sucks. It does.
Okay.
I've been on the receiving end.
So because I'm toxic in that way, to me it's kind of like, I just think about it as like the person just probably just says, fuck it. And then they just keep on moving on with their life there. Because who am I? You know what I mean? I'm just a child of God. We're all child of God out here. So you do.
I'm just a child of God.
So how does it feel on the receiving end? Like, so is it more to what I'm thinking?
Absolutely. I think you are probably downplaying your impact in people's lives, right? Because if someone is able to just, and I'm not saying everybody responds the same way. There are some people who are able to just be, fuck that and go on, right? But I think if you have had a significant impact or a significant friendship with somebody, then they will definitely feel the void of you not being around anymore. And they would wonder, why are you not talking to them? What did they do? Why you just disappeared? Why was their friendship with you not worth a conversation? Slowly. But it's true, right? Like I've actually done that myself. Like I've had that exact scenario when I've been the person to just be like, cut. And I know that I've received it, so I know that that's probably what they're feeling as well. Like, why didn't she talk to me? Like, how come she didn't feel that she could say whatever it was that was bothering her, and we can get past it?
Let me say this. Malaysia Rajwa Mensa is going to say something to you here. I'm just toxic sometimes. Allow me. Just allow me, bro. I'm only human. Child of God.
Have you ever had any toxic friendships that you've cut out that you wish you didn't, or that you would like to rekindle? No.
The ones who were like real toxic, I mean, no. But there are some friends where they probably just had a moment.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It was a phase or whatever they were going through, and I was just annoyed because I get annoyed. And people think I have a short temper, but my temper is not short.
They just don't realize that they've been pissing you off for 2 years. You just haven't said anything. That's what it is.
Stick to the heart again. 3 times. Let me just slow.
I'm dying. No, but that's true, right? Because they probably wouldn't recognize that they are on a fucking thin ice. They don't even realize. And they're busy spinning around on the ice. They don't even realize they're about to drop through.
Like shaky warrior. You're on the thing and you just,
But I think I have had friends that not as, you know what, I'm very much roll with the punches type of person. Yeah. So I will live. I will continue on. I will keep going. But there are certain people that I'm no longer friends with that I still miss.
Yeah, because it was
I miss them. Like I miss the friendship. I miss the jokes. I miss the fun. I miss whatever. But I'm also very much aware of the other things about them that I didn't really like that I don't miss. And so balance. But I could definitely say I miss them, but I don't know if I would necessarily rekindle. I mean, if we could have a decent conversation about what happened, and then kind of come to some understanding about it, then I could probably still talk to them again. Okay. But, yeah.
Okay. So what are some? So we just want to let you guys know to think about some of the things we're going to tell you that make you appear like you are toxic.
I'm bad mind.
So
I'm grudgeful.
You're going to need to do some counseling.
I'm negative. You have bad ways.
When people feel worse about themselves having spent time with you,
yeah,
you're toxic.
That's shitty. Yeah, man. Don't do that. Like
When
you're either too critical or you brag or you show off or you're, that is not good. People should always feel, why you look at me like that?
Because you're really taking it.
Because it's true.
Like, whoa, you're just like, this is.
That's not nice. Because you know what? I think I always try to leave. That's one of the things that I one of my mantras or my principles, that leave people better than when they met you. Leave people better off for knowing you or meeting you than when they first did. So that's yucky. To be like, when I walk away feeling like shit because I met this bitch, yuck. So if people avoid you or if they just try to disappear out of your life because you again, we just finished saying, you always have conflict, you always have some issues, and then people who are in your life tend to leave you, then chances are you might have some toxic traits. You might have some toxic ways.
Yes.
May not be wholeheartedly, but you might have some behaviors that is repelling the people in your life. If
there are people who you get introduced and that's their friend, that's their this, and then the next minute that person is not talking to this main person, and then you'll see them on the street like, hey girl, blah blah blah, and then they'll ask you how your toxic friend is. And you'll be like, yo, aren't you guys friends? I don't know. I know my friend's toxic, so I don't talk to her every day. The hell? I'm not going to say that.
Right.
But it's and then you realize, you go ask the toxic person, what happened?
I don't talk to her anymore.
What's the reason?
Fuck that bitch.
Yeah. What's the reason? Tasha, there's no reason. They don't know. No. The person disappeared.
They just don't talk to them anymore.
All of a sudden.
Yeah.
Every single time. It's crazy.
Every single time. When you look through for your friends, you know what I started doing? When you look through your friends list, and then all of a sudden, how come this person stopped following her? That person ain't talking to her no more. This person, they caught, something's wrong with your energy. And it's the worst when those people try to portray, if they're so, peaceful and loving and, they're little hippies and everything else, but they're really fucking level, fucking grunge, okay?
Should I stop posting my positivity?
No.
Because I'm a little poisonous. I'm not biohazard.
No, not you at
all.
I'm not biohazard. So the next one is if you are highly critical. If you are always criticizing others, you kind of feel superior to other people. You have this kind of they can't sit with us type of behavior. That kind of shit,
you toxic.
Toxic as fuck.
You don't even have to add the fuck at the end. Fuck. What's another one?
If you're controlling, if you're manipulative. Okay, so that is a key one because there's a lot of people who sometimes they may not even see themselves as manipulative as they really are.
Because they're pathical liars.
Yeah, guy. They all they have this way that they position things.
Yes.
So that they know how to say, what to say, when to say it, and how to position so that they get the outcome that they want. And it doesn't always come front to your face. They don't always just come as, the snake that they are. Sometimes they will plead, that they need your help. They're helpless. They're harmless. They're just in distress. They're all these different things. But a lot of those times they're just pulling on your emotions so that they can get the desired outcome. That's a toxic trait.
That's
okay.
That's a toxic fuck toxic.
That's definitely toxic.
There's one where you never apologize.
Yeah.
Or you've never do nothing wrong.
It's never your fault.
You're toxic.
It's everybody else. Everybody else's fault. It's never, and that, like, pay attention to people who never take accountability.
Yeah.
Like, at some point, I mean, I know, you know, we grew up in a society where it's like wrong to be wrong. You know what I mean? Everybody feels like they're shit if you make a mistake or if you're wrong somehow. It's no big deal if you're wrong. It's no big deal, right? If you end up being in a situation where you've made a mistake, that's cool. Make amends, say sorry, fix up, and keep moving, right?
But they can't because their ego.
It's like, I don't know, like, I think from, like, when people were young, their parents chastised them so much to make them feel like shit whenever they made a mistake. So now they just don't even know how to, like, just take accountability and just move on, you know?
Yeah.
But that's something that's definitely a red flag. When you see people who are not, like, never take accountability for anything that they're doing, toxic.
It is. And it's like, when they're like that, it's kind of like, it's very hard for you to take them seriously.
Yeah.
Because you know really how they truly are, and it's just like you have to be very cautious around them.
And it seems like really immature. It's definitely a trait that I see as like, you haven't evolved.
Right.
If you can't ever, because it takes two to tango, bro. Like, it's always two people. It's an exchange. It's always like, there's always something that, every action is a reaction, and so there's always something that you could have done, said, or you know, think differently to have a different outcome. So you have to be able to own at least something that you're doing. Like, you know, when you feel like you're being taken advantage of, or that you take advantage of other people, like, that is a toxic trait as well. People who always have favors to ask you.
Oh my God.
Always need money. Always need a place to stay, a ride, a this, a that. Like, just needy all the time. Needy.
And it's like, they won't even, you know, and sometimes because you always just, because they know how to, like, people like that are manipulative. So they know how to, you know, woo you so you don't get upset. Like, you'll have an event and they won't bring anything. But you know what I'm trying to say? And then it's like,
they go eat and drink everything.
Right? Or they'll want to do bottle service for, like, their birthday. Or they'll want to do something, but it's never, sometimes it's never really reciprocal.
Yes.
But they know that, and they know how to, like, woo you, so they know they can just, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes. Or the people who always have to have the spotlight. It's always about them. Always about them. They're always, you know, the spotlight, the highlights, the everything. Like,
yes. Also, those who want to be the highlight by making fun of others to make other people feel like, and laugh at you. So that to me is toxic.
And like, having a friend like that is so, a friend or a partner. Like, I've actually seen people who are like in relationships with people like that, where their partner makes fun of them in front of other people.
No.
Yeah. Like, that shit hurts my heart. Cause I'm like, punch him.
Listen, you know me, I will even be doing
punch him.
I'd be having the silent checks.
Right?
And then one day my bag's gonna take it to the limit. He's gonna say something about my belly, something about me not going to the gym. The way I'm gonna pack a light.
You exactly.
I'm out of there.
I've seen that so many times. I've seen it both ends too. I've seen like where the guy makes fun of the girl, and he's like she's always the butt of his jokes.
No.
And he thinks he's a comedian, so he's always cracking some joke. Or the other way, I've seen it where like she's always like cracking shit about his manhood, like makes jokes about like him being like weak, or him being in front of his brethren. Like, it's so bad. It's so bad. Like, you know, when people make certain comments and you're just like, the whole room gets awkwardly quiet, you're just like, that kind of shit. Toxic as fuck. You can't have that shit around you. That's disgusting. So the other thing is like, I can't have a partner like that ever. Like, hold me up, bro. I'm sorry. Don't ever try to diss me.
Imagine.
Don't ever. So like, the other thing is like, if you hold a grudge, like people who can't get over shit, like I understand things hurt. You have trauma. I get it. But every single thing cannot be a thing that you hold on to for life. Like, you're 40 something and you're talking about, remember back in high school, this bitch. And you still mad at her today. You saw her no frills and you still want to fight her. Like,
yo, there's people from high high school
Good Lord.
Do you remember you had in high school who you may have had a beef? Like, it's 2021. They'll still see you on road and point at you.
Yes,
like,
and watch you away and just like skin up their face and just like, I remember that bitch from high school. Like, are you serious? You're still living way back in that time? Like, wow. I can't stand that shit. Like,
I'm so sorry.
You hold that level kind of grudge, like, you need help. You're the Grinch. Like, you need help, dog.
You need some love.
You need a hug. You need a heart. That's crazy. But there's so many people who are like that. And it's like, and it's like a normal thing, too. Like, people don't even recognize that they're like, you're like, are you being serious? Like, yeah, I remember that bitch. They see you in a club. And then we say some crazy shit.
Yo, they're telling people, chatting your name in front of people. Right? You know me. Like, what happened?
You don't even know. Like, oh my God, why? I was 15. Like, can you allow me? Like, can you please allow me? I was a child.
Even if we were 20, bro.
Right?
You know how long
that was? You know how much growing I've done since then? My God. Like, oh, I remember her. Or guys from way back in the day, like, yo, I remember the time when I used to shop. Yo, this guy took a 20 from me and he never paid me like $20, bro. Yo, if I see that man anywhere, it's on site, bro. And I'm like, what? It's like so real beef. And I'm like,
I can't do that.
You studying $20 from 20 years ago? Come on.
Do better.
Yeah, look the goose here. Look that. Let it go.
Oh, God.
I'm gonna buy his beef for him. Here, take that.
Oh my God. I guess that goes into you make things everything. You take everything and you make it personal.
Personal, yes.
I didn't like that way that person looked at me.
Yes.
Why did that? Who's that person? Oh my God! Like,
oh, man.
If everything is about you, chances are you toxic
as fuck. And you know what? There's people like that online. There's people who take every meme or everything. They're like, "Are you subtweeting me? Are you supposed to?"
Yeah.
What? Who are you? Like,
has anybody ever came up to you or called you out on a post that you did and they thought it was about them?
It was about them. I'm like, why would you even think that had anything to do with you? Like, what?
Yo,
I've had many people call me or send me like I post something and then they'll send the post to me in my DMs. Is that about me?
Why do you guys do that? Why? If the shoe fits, it fits.
That's what I always say. If it fall in your garden, water it. It's for you.
That's it.
If you feel personally attacked by something, then you should know why you feel personally attacked by it. That's true. For me, I'm just like, anybody who asks me, at first I'd be like, oh my God, no. Now I'm just like, yeah. It was probably for you still.
Like cold or something?
Yeah, I'm getting real lethal these days. As I get older, I'm just getting to the place where I don't give a fuck. I mean, I've always been that way, but now it's just getting worse. It's getting worse.
So, when you are a person who finds it very hard to celebrate somebody's success, you are toxic as fuck.
I've had a friend like that. So, who always tries to either miss your big moments. They're unavailable when anytime it's a moment to celebrate you, they're just not there. Or they find a way to take your moment and make it about them. It's so hurtful. Like, I just can't even tell you how much I was just like, wow. Like, you don't even, at first you don't realize it, right? And you're just like, I'm starting to see a pattern happening here, though. Like, this has now become a pattern. You know?
So
sick.
So people who are like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you set boundaries with them?
You just cut them. There's no boundaries to set. How do you talk to somebody? I mean, if the person matters to you, then yeah, you have a conversation with them. You let them know, like, this is what I'm seeing. Yeah. I see that every single time it's anything to do with me, anything that puts me in the limelight or in the spotlight, you either find a way to make it about yourself, or you are just not around when I need to celebrate me. Yeah. And, you know?
Even, so I guess it could be like success of something online. Yeah. Or even just reposting or
anything that has to do with your success or you getting the limelight, people looking at you, people celebrating you. They're just like busy. Oh, I had something to do that day. I couldn't come to your whatever.
Oh my God, that's so true.
Right? Oh, you're getting an award? Oh shit, that's the same day I have a wedding. Sorry. Like, you know, I'm kind of like, they just always find a way to like not be there for you or not celebrate you. Okay. They might quietly or privately give you your big ups so that you don't feel like they're really hating. But in public, or if it's any major events or anything like that, they're just not there.
Why do you think that is though? Like, why do you think, is it their own like self-esteem issues? Like, what is it, do you think, that bothers people when other people are getting gratitude?
I think it's jealousy. I think it boils down to jealousy. I think if you are not able to see when other people are succeeding at something or giving accolades for something, if you somehow feel like that detracts from yourself, like that's what, because I don't feel that way. When other people are getting big up, I'm like, yes, I'm there bigging you up too, because I feel value in myself. Because I know everybody has their turn. So it may not be my turn today. It might be you today. Yeah. So why can't you have today? Why do I have to try and steal a little bit 2 hours out of your day? Why?
There's abundance.
Tomorrow might be for me, right? So, okay. But I feel like it's jealousy and or insecurity. You know what I mean? That makes people react that way. Because you don't have to always find a way. Like there's people who, like, for instance, it's your birthday. It's a milestone birthday. You have your outfit ready. Everything's good, whatever the case is. Right. And you have that friend who's going to try to upscale what you're wearing. Or you have that friend who's going to be like in the middle of the dance floor dancing more than you. She want to be in every camera. She want to be in everything more than you. And it's your day. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like there's so many people who have, I even have a friend who had one of her friends come to her wedding wearing a dress that looked like a wedding dress. Mm-hmm. A sweetheart cut white flowing mermaid style dress to someone's wedding. Like, what is wrong those kind of little things, like you look at it and you're like, are they doing it? Because you don't know. Like you're like, is it really that? Like, are you really trying to take my shine? But like when the entire wedding saw it that way, she had no choice but to see it that way. Because everybody else was like, why is this bitch wearing a wedding dress to your wedding? Like, that's just what it was.
Can you imagine?
No.
Can you imagine? Would you get mad? Because I was listening to this conversation and they were saying it's toxic. You're a toxic friend if I'm on my wedding day, you know, like how sometimes at the reception, you get engaged. Would you be mad? Like, do you find that toxic?
I don't think it's toxic. I think it's insensitive. Okay. I think there are so many other times and places that you can choose to have that moment. So I wouldn't say it's a toxic trait, but I think that because you as the friend, you wouldn't know if dude's going to propose to you. Yeah. Right? But I think when people plan like, oh, I'm going to propose to Susie at so-and-so's wedding. That to me is like, what are you thinking about?
Come up with a better idea.
Come on. Take that bitch to Niagara Falls or some shit. Like, you in somebody else's wedding. Like, let them have their day. You know
Imagine if it's like only like 10 people or something. And then you only have to look at 10 people to celebrate. So now you have five each just so.
I just think that's just a little bit. That's a movie type shit. Like you see them things in fucking Hollywood. Don't do that thing. Don't do that at my wedding. None of y'all bitches get fucking engaged at my wedding, okay? I'm pouring shit on your hair.
If you never compromise.
Like, yeah, it's never a give or take, right? It's always your way or the highway.
You're toxic as, you know.
Or those people who are, who don't keep your secrets, who don't have any loyalty to you, who will chat your business. Brethren, I can't deal with those kind of people. I don't have a lot of friends like that in my circle because the moment I realize your mouth is loose, you won't hear nothing about me.
Yes.
It's going to just be generic, regular conversations. I'm not telling you nothing about nobody. People who gossip a lot, watch those people.
Yes.
And people who, because anybody, everybody has a best friend, everybody has a confidant, but people who are like loose at the lip and who talk about everybody else's business, trust them, believe they're talking about yours too.
You have to be careful. And then if you as an individual and you know that you have to be cautious on what you say to this particular person, you already know that they're toxic.
Yeah.
So it's either you have to then decide if that's the type of energy you want, or it's okay. I think it's so. Sometimes toxic people need love too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you know,
toxic ass, to keep all of them together in a little concentration camp. They all love themselves together.
If you make snarky, passive aggressive comments. Hey.
I'm not gonna say nothing about that one. But yeah.
This whole episode, I feel attacked. I feel attacked. You know what's so crazy? After I was doing it and I was looking at the list, and then I saw that, and I'm like, me being snarky with my rude comments and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I'm here that's how I know sometimes you really don't realize certain things, because I'm here thinking it shows that I'm funny. It shows I'm witty.
But you are.
So maybe I am going too far sometimes. If I'm talking to a guy who's older than me, I go in.
You make fun of him. Oh yeah, I remember you telling me how you make fun of old guys.
I go
fucking
in.
Up the poor man's self-esteem.
You know what? This is why I like Chatbout, because you know what? I'm finding out things about myself, and these are ways that I can consciously take it in when I'm doing it. And instead of doing it maybe 5-10 times a night, I'll bring it down to 2.
Right?
Just bring the toxic just a little
bit down, just a little sip of poison, not a whole lot, just a little spritz. Okay, so one of the things, we have a little bit of time left. So one of the things that we did today was we took a toxicity test.
Yes, we took 2.
And 2 of them.
Yeah.
So that's a good way for you to get a little sense of how toxic are you.
Yeah.
So the first one, I felt like it was just way, way, way toxic. It was just are you a bitch? All right, basically.
Yeah.
Do you treat people like shit? It was just too many examples of just way left type of behavior. And most people
are not going to pass. Yeah.
Most people don't do those things. If you say yes to 3 or more of those things, buddy.
Yeah.
So, but the other one we took was a little bit more.
I'm trying to see what it was called.
It was
a Quiz Terra. It was Quiz Terra, and it will tell you how toxic you are.
Yeah. So for me, I took it, and I wasn't as toxic as I thought I was. I actually took it. It was a pretty good questionnaire.
Yeah.
And it's just 10 questions or whatever, but it gave me a good sense of, because I'm the first one, I'm okay, this first one says I'm not toxic because I don't do any of those things.
But that was from BuzzFeed, so that was just
trash. But this one was pretty good, and that was a nice little way to kind of gauge. You might have some little toxic traits. Yeah. You might think that you're a little perfect, but you're not. You have some toxic traits. So.
Oh my God! Because we both got a little. We have a little poison in us. We have a little bit of toxic traits,
which just makes us fun,
right? But it says it's never too. They said it's never too late for us to think about it. So we have time to reflect, and now we'll be consciously aware of some of our mannerisms that I've learned about myself through this episode. My heart was crushed
a few times.
You're yeah, I'm gonna tell you.
So that's pretty much our episode on toxicity. So I don't know if you heard yourself or anything that resembles you in this episode.
You better take notes.
But try to be nice. Try to take stock of yourself and see, what you could be doing Take a little accountability for yourself. This is, we're all trying to grow and evolve and be better selves, better versions of ourselves. So,
time to do some shadow work, people.
Shadow work.
Let's get this together and let's just bring in some positive energy and let go of the toxic traits.
Yes.
Until next week.
Peace. See you guys.